It's sickening to me when I look at the past week and what's happened in the Capitol.
Yeah.
I frown upon that, but out of that shows and proves a lesson.
Yeah.
Their unity shows a power that we don't exert. Okay, we go out and march, we tear up the stores in our community, but we don't march on the powers that be.
Right.
Now, some people should have lost their lives in that, because if it would have been us, plenty of people would have lost their lives.
Yeah.
But I understand their premise. You have to stand up.
Yeah.
We're going to have to stand up at some point.
Right. That's the thing with Trump, too. Like, he's a voice that, whether you agree with him or not, he's a voice that's opposite from what the U.S. government is saying or trying to feed to the mass population. In other words, what president have you known to stand up and say, hey, this is fake news?
That's right.
What president stood up and said, hey, the polls might be, they could be messing with the polls on the low.
He knows. Like, this is experience that he know.
Whether you agree with him or you don't agree with him, the thing is that's a voice, a free voice that, you know what I'm saying?
And Satan took the dissatisfied with him. Yeah. 1/3 of that population was dissatisfied. Yeah. And as you see, we got more than almost half of the population dissatisfied and willing to follow someone who is on an evil path. And
on a whole nother path.
But again, they dwelling within their nature. They doing what their nature calls upon them to do, which is why it's so easy for them to do it.
Right.
We righteous. We don't want to pull up arms and to overthrow the government. We want the government to include us the way it's supposed to be a more perfect union, which is a fallacy within itself. But if it's supposed to be a more perfect union, let's improve the union.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, do they want to improve the union? That's the whole question of the matter, because remember, the nature of the Caucasian man is, he's your natural enemy.
Exactly.
Everything in nature has a natural,
and
enemy.
polar opposite, sure.
Right. He, in terms of human beings, he's our natural enemy.
Sure.
He's always going to be a predator to the black man, to the original people.
Forever.
You know what I mean? No matter where we go on this planet, we can say, even as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, let's divide up America. Let's give us this part, you take this part, whatever the case may be. He's the type of individual that if he sees you doing better than him over there, he's going to try to, you know what I mean, come over there, drop a bomb.
This is the reason why he was ran 2,000 miles across the desert in the first place, because his devilishment.
Right.
So we don't need to align with him, but we need to kind of understand his plight, because believe me, he's the power. This country is built for him, by him. Okay? The Constitution is written for him, by him. We're not included. So when he's unhappy and he's willing to overthrow the very system that's made for him, then we better look out.
That should show you something.
Sure, we better look out. But I see plenty of my brothers saying, I just want my stimulus check.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't be blind.
We so busy that we just want stimulus money. We want this, we want that. We're not really looking at the whole purpose of the insurrection. You know what I'm saying? Or the rebellion, if you will. We're not even looking at that. Like I said, I look at it as it's a free voice. You know what I mean? Whether I agree with that voice or I disagree with them, anybody that's like that, you know what I'm saying, that's speaking out, saying stuff about this wicked system,
Right, but in a way, his bullhorn got auto-tune on it, because he is the evil. He's just calling upon his evildoers to join him.
Right, so really, it's a sign for us. As original people, really to look and see what's going on, like how, the beast is fighting among himself.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now we should be able to capitalize, pick up any fallout from them and move on. But it's going to take a mindset. And we don't, as a group, have that much. That's why we only 5%.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's up to the guards, though, to do our job, man. We got to,
True.
Like I talk to the Muslim guards, Brother Wakil and some of the other brothers, and And I'm like, yo, we got to be more visual. We got to be more, audible now, where people could hear and see us building more. The youth need that.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm thankful to Allah. I got the channel and stuff off the ground, and I'm trying to, do stuff with that.
And I'm appreciative of that, God.
Yeah, I know
Believe me, I got my lessons from you. And one night I'm watching you and the Black God Ra.
Yeah.
Y'all building, and I'm saying to myself, I heard you say, well, the topic was Melchizedek, brother, who was giving out lessons from his bookstore early on.
Right.
And y'all, it was a problem with that because that's not the way it should be done.
Right.
It's like feeding a baby steak when he should have pablum.
Right.
So y'all was saying it shouldn't be done, and it hadn't. But you and we had a different situation. I said, now, Cypher, when I see the God, I reached out to you actually because you gave me an entire book of life.
Right.
But
I did.
It was a difficult time because some transitions was going on in your world.
Yeah.
But you knew I would study because I was studying with you already. You knew I would do the right thing.
Right.
I wasn't like a teeny bopper. I was like a grown man. I'm older than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was newborn to that knowledge.
Right.
But elderly in age. So I think you had an understanding that I would do the right thing. And now it's been 8-10 years since I've seen you last?
Yeah.
And you listening to the way I expound what I've been taught and what I've learned from just
your growth and development.
Exactly. And study.
Alhamdulillah, all I can say is praise be to Allah, you know what I'm saying, for that.
That's true.
Because at the end of the day, and the thing with Melchizedek is I did that. And I'm sure other gods have done that.
Sure.
Just gave out the lessons willy-nilly to whoever. Hey, here's the whole 120. Everything. Right. Take it. See you later.
Right.
But the thing is, later on in life, you get to realize, you kind of see the faults in what you did in certain situations during your travels.
Sure.
And enlightening other individuals. Exactly. One day the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said about Brother Malcolm, he was like, I'll never teach another minister the way I taught Brother Malcolm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, why do you think that was?
He seen certain things because, Malcolm was always deemed as, the hypocrite or the one who tried to go against the Nation of Islam, speak against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then start his own organization.
Right.
So, the messenger seen things in that developmental study or teaching of Malcolm, and he said, if I could do it all over again, I would never teach another minister the way I taught Brother Malcolm. So, likewise, even with me, there's certain students that I've had, that I've built with and taught that it's trial and error. You kind of see where you kind of went wrong. As a parent, raises a child in the house, you see some children, you're like, I could have did a little bit better with this or with that.
Sure.
So that's how it is with me. But the thing is that I was saying about Brother Melchizedek, and the God, Black God Ra, this is 30, 40 years later, 50 years later, and you sit and you talk about it as if I didn't make no mistake, it was the right thing to do. Hey, I used to get the lessons out to dudes, and hey, see you later. Here's the whole 120, and brothers used to be like, why you doing that? And I'm like, give it to him, let him get it. You should now be able to say,
I shouldn't have went that way.
Right.
You know
what I'm saying?
Because he's probably one of our eldest brothers in the nation.
Yeah. So, and I still haven't spoken to the brother either. I'm sure he probably saw my bill, but I'm waiting to sit down and build with our brother, the older God Melchizedek. There's certain questions.
You may need to reach out to him because time is of the essence, God.
Well, I've had people that have tried to reach out to him and tell him that I would like to build with him.
Sure.
I'm gonna be up in Nawai, inshallah, probably like around April, May, and I'm gonna try to see if I can have another sit down, with some of the brothers up there, like Sonetta and them, and see if they can bring.
He built Cypher Plus, We need to bridge some of these divisions. In order for us to grow as a nation of gods and earths or a nation of Islam, we're going to have to come together on some accord.
Common ground.
Yeah, so that we can keep our individuality but have the same objective.
I would say let that common ground be the lesson.
Sure, that's what it has to be.
You know, a lot of brothers would look at, you know, us, you know, 5%ers in the Nation of Islam and say, oh, well, they're not gods.
Right.
They just Muslims.
Right.
You know,
but
and
where's
the
the
thing
add-on?
is, the lessons say also Muslims and Muslim sons. It says that as clear as day in the lesson.
All day. It also
What
says
is his own self?
What is his own self?
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
In the knowledge, understanding, equality. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. You know, so you can't really sit there and say 5%ers aren't Muslims.
Sure.
They are Muslims.
Sure.
Now, if you want to call yourself something else or whatever the case may be, that's cool, but you cannot exclude Muslims and Masons from the 5%ers because it says that Muslims and the Muslim sons are 5%ers.
Civilized people, Muslims, and Muslim sons. So that's even the civilized person,
right,
who could be of a different faith,
right,
is of that 5%,
right,
because he is civilized.
Yeah. In that lesson, the messenger is, when he quoted that lesson, he's saying that 5%ers are civilized people.
Yes.
There's two groups now, because there's only two races really on the planet.
Sure.
There's a melanated race and there's a non-melanated race.
Exactly.
So the non-melanated race is the Muslim sons.
Right.
Or the Masons, the Freemasons,
the ones who needed to study to come amongst us.
Right. He's not original. He's not originally.
He's not a natural builder.
Exactly. By nature. But the other group is the melanated group, who are the Muslim gods. Because they're Muslims and they are gods, both at the same time.
And why I don't understand why you can't. We live in a world of duality. Why can't you be both?
The nature of light is a duality.
Sure.
Because they say when nature travels through space-time, it's a wave.
Sure.
When it comes in contact with matter or material, it turns into particles. So this is baffled, you know, scientists for decades.
Sure.
How is that? Well, likewise with the original man. You know, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the cross that we see, it has a duality. It represents that duality, just like the yin and the yang.
It sure does.
There's an upright 90-degree vertical man who's upright, and then there's a horizontal man who's a beast, like
dead. Who's
dead. Basically, a nigger.
Just laying down. I mean? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The symbolism in a lot of things that we look at, especially on television, in the movies, these things play a part in our thinking. Subliminal messaging is one of the greatest things that the devil uses.
Yeah.
All right, so
it's a science.
Yeah, it's an exact science. So when we look at things like the cross, the lessons, the division, all these things, none of them really have anything to do with the individual who's living out his lessons.
Right.
That only occurs when you with someone that's outside of your thinking.
Right.
When you with somebody that's right and exact, even though they don't know the lessons, when it's right and exact, it's right and exact.
Yeah.
When you with somebody who definitely against what you say, you know, it don't even make sense in having this conversation. This debate is moot.
Right.
So unless you are a civilized person, a Muslim or a Muslim son, you can't identify with righteousness the way it needs to be displayed. And that's my thing. I don't care where you are, what you are, where you come from. If you right, I roll with you.
Right. The black man by nature is righteous.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? By nature. But we live other than self.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like the last time we talked about, you know, like some of the gods, you know, or I'm going to say so-called gods who were running around with the attributes of God, but they was living a savage, beast-like life.
Wow.
You know, when you go back to the 1980s and you look at them brothers like, you know, Minister of Law.
Sure.
You know.
Father Shah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shah. I mean.
You know, Shabu and these dudes from the Allah team. Not Wakil and them brothers, the Allah team, but the A-team, that Allah team. These were stick-up kids.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? King Allah. He was a notorious stick-up kid, just like Preacher and them in New York.
Right.
They kidnapped your moms.
Cut your kids up.
Cut them up. Like
Cut a finger off.
But yet, look at the names. King Allah.
Sure.
Allah just.
But that's why we get looked at
You see what I'm saying?
There was a time in prison when you don't even take that name. If you take that name, you're going in the box. You get mistreated.
That's a fact.
It took work in order to be able to wear that name in prison. See, it's a lot of work that goes in.
But then I was going to say it ran its course.
Yeah.
Because in prison, the righteous guards, the Muslim guards, the ones who was living out the lessons and the teachings, they got tired of brothers running around calling themselves Shaheen, my name is Knowledge, my name is whatever, and they slashing dudes and they, robbing dudes for their commentary or whatever the case. They got tired of that, so brothers had to take a stand. This is where you get the New York City Bloods from.
Sure.
Because eventually brothers had to back away from that and like, all right, put those lessons down. Now we blood, and they took up a whole nother flag now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Still five, but not
yeah,
the five
yeah.
we talking about.
Yeah. Indeed.
Not the five we talking about.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, a black man, the original man, is righteous by nature. But the thing is, you are God also by nature, but you will never get to God if you don't practice.
If you don't
the
refine
culture, you got to practice.
You have to, again, knowledge is what we are. We are knowledge.
Right.
We are man. We are supreme being. We the foundation.
Right.
Through our wise way, words, and actions,
right,
we bring about understanding.
True indeed.
Understanding allows you to live out your culture in freedom of truth and power. But the power requires refinement.
Right.
You're savage with just, I'm God, fuck what you say. I got this. I'm praying to nobody.
Yeah.
You can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
I master all the drugs. I'm in charge of all things.
God said that too. They could master over heroin.
How you gonna master heroin? How you gonna master a chemical that's created to master you? But see,
they thought that.
That's that thing.